Neveah was glad the couple were so considerate of her, and after a tiring trip from the Eclipse Palace to Mount Vernon, Neveah had slept the very moment her head touched the pillow. And Neveah had to admit, being out in the middle of nature, with the sight of the woods from her window, and being so far from the Eclipse Palace, as well as her supposed family, Neveah had never slept so peacefully, not even when she was in the healer's tribe. Neveah guessed it was because even the Omega healers held prejudice against her, and so even there, she could only remain alert at all times. Neveah had learned early on that she could not trust anybody. It would not be the first time Alpha Queen Vilma had attempted to buy the hands of others to get rid of Neveah. However, this time, for some reason, Neveah felt safe and at peace with Alpha Dane and Luna Colleen's presence, because she knew they would not let any harm come to her. And it was not because she was of use to them. If that was the only reason, then they would be no different from everyone else. But Neveah strangely felt the Alpha couple from Eclipse Hunt were good people, worthy of trust. But Neveah would never be so quick to trust anyone. "Very well, thank you," Neveah replied, as she lowered her head to a small bow at the Alpha couple, wondering if she had interrupted something. "Good to hear, child. If there is anything you need, do not hesitate to ask," Alpha Dane said with a warm smile. "You do know you should get going, right? It's inappropriate to keep the Alpha King waiting," Luna Colleen pointed out to her husband, who hovered behind her as she moved around in the kitchen, checking on the supplies available. "I don't know if I can bring myself to leave you right now, Lean, especially with your condition," Alpha Dane said with a sigh. "Uncle Dane is leaving?" Neveah asked curiously. "The Alpha King arrived this morning. All ranked wolves are summoned to the upper range. The summit has officially begun," Luna Colleen replied. Neveah winced slightly at the news that her father had already arrived, regardless of the fact that he was nowhere near this part of the mountain. His presence alone made that feeling of suffocation return in full. "I cannot go with Dane. I told him you would need the next 3 days to neutralize the poison, and I would like it if we could commence as soon as possible, if that is okay with you," Luna Colleen said hopefully. "I was going to suggest the same. The first summit lasts 7 days. Uncle Dane can leave without worries. I will pay close attention to all of Aunt Colleen's needs. Upon your return, your pups will be safe and sound," Neveah promised the reluctant Alpha with a small smile. "You heard the girl. Now go on over and do convey our apologies to the Alpha King for our unavoidable absence," Luna Colleen told her mate. "Very well. I shall entrust my mate and pups to your care, Veah," Alpha Dane said, and Neveah nodded in acceptance. Alpha Dane lingered for a moment before he strode out, and Luna Colleen laughed quietly, staring after her mate. "He can be such a baby sometimes," Luna Colleen said with a shake of her head. "He worries for you, Aunt Colleen. He cannot help it," Neveah replied, her heart warm from just watching the love shared between the two. "Well, with you here, I believe everything will be fine. I believe in you," Luna Colleen said with a smile, and the honesty in her tone warmed Neveah's heart. "Well, seeing as we are out in the mountains and practically the only females amongst the Eclipse Hunt party, we will have to take care of ourselves. What would you like for breakfast?" Luna Colleen asked Neveah. "You don't need to do all of these things. Just sit, Aunt Colleen," Neveah chided with a roll of her eyes as she headed over to take the knife out of Luna Colleen's hand. "But I do not want to burden you any more than I already am. You must not be accustomed to seeing to your own meals," Luna Colleen argued. Neveah quirked a brow as she recalled excluding the Eclipse Fang. The entire Eclipse domain considered Neveah to be a spoiled and pampered princess. "I am an Omega, Aunt Colleen, not a handicap, And you would be surprised how much I see to by myself, Neveah replied with a shrug. You just take a seat. I will have breakfast ready in a bit, and after which I will begin brewing the herbs to neutralize the poison. It will be a tasking process on you, Aunt Colleen. You will need your strength, Neveah added in a grim tone. Neveah strolled through the woods, taking a deep breath in of the refreshing air and the sense of nature. Neveah had told Luna Colleen it was best to begin the process of neutralizing the poison in an environment she felt most relaxed in. Neutralizing the moon whisper would involve dealing some bodily harm, and the last thing they needed was for Luna Colleen's protective instincts to be stirred. If Luna Colleen panicked, her wolf would assume there was a danger to their pups, and if Luna Colleen's wolf took over, it would be a big problem. Of course, Neveah had to think of all possibilities in order to keep herself safe. She'd spent all her life posing to be a human, and she had long began thinking like one. No human wanted to be faced with a raging mother wolf and identified as a threat to her pups, because that was asking for. Luna Colleen had found Neveah's concerns amusing, but she understood, considering Neveah was an Omega and stood no chance against her wolf. After breakfast, Luna Colleen had decided it was best they take a walk through the mountain woods to calm her anxiety, and perhaps they would find a location to begin neutralizing the poison. Neveah agreed without hesitation, and so here they were, strolling through the woods at a leisure pace. Neveah had not gone out into the woods since the night of the Eclipse ball. Her father had made it clear there would be consequences if she was caught prancing around the woods again. Neveah found it relieving that she did not have to worry about any consequences this time. It was only now that she was away from her father's scrutiny, temporarily. Neveah finally realized just how caged she had been for the past 17 years of her life, imprisoned in a large, luxurious palace and surrounded by maids and attendants. But no matter how large a prison was, it was still a cage, only that you could not see the prison bars visibly. You know, I met Dane when I was 10, a young pup cuddled by my parents and never let out due to their protectiveness, Luna Colleen began as they strolled through the woods. My parents were extremely ordinary wolves, with neither title nor position, but we lived a blissful life, as within the Eclipse hunt, all wolves are regarded as equals. Neveah was slightly surprised Luna Colleen was talking about her relationship with Alpha Dane to Neveah, who was no more than a stranger. But Neveah guessed talking about her mate helped calm her anxiety, and Neveah had no problems being the listener.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.